Hello. Anyone out there listening, put a thumbs up, etc. Let me know about this live stream. First time using it. Hoping it's working. My internet already cut out twice and I'm running off my phone. So hopefully someone's out there listening to me. Put a thumbs up or comment. Let me know you're out there. Otherwise, it's going to be like normal. I'm going to be talking to myself. So anybody out there? What's everybody at work? It's a cold day today in my shed. Let me know how cold it is where you live. And where you live, let me know. Trying to get this high-tech live stream going. Most people are used to it. With me, it's all brand new. So I'll wait a little bit longer. I'm 1 minute early. How dare I? Here we go. There's John. Big Bad John's on here already. So it is working. Or I've been spammed, one of them too. Not so lucky. Is it cold up your way, John? Unless you're sitting in the house in the air conditioning, in the luxury. I've had to put a beanie on to sit in my shed where it's about 4 degrees. I had to whack a beanie on my bald head to not freeze my bum off. Is there anyone else is watching out there? I've got my messenger. Every minute it'll send me a message because otherwise I can't keep up with messages. That's if someone messages. Oh, yeah, got someone else's. Yeah. How you going, Rohan James? Thanks for coming on my channel. If I pronounced your name is wrong, that's because I mucked up at school and didn't learn much. But yeah, mate, I feed my bait worms. Fatten them. You can feed them multiple things. I've got at the moment I've got it's called Wild Bird Mix. It's high in protein. It'll fatten them up real quick. It's very high in protein. You got to be careful of. If you want to play safe, you can just have apple crumble. Apple crumble. I've got food on my bloody mind. Till I haven't had breakfast. Chicken crumble. Sorry. Depending where you're from. If you're overseas or in Australia, most chicken crumble, chicken starter, it's good. Just got to make sure it doesn't have any hormones or additives in there. We should have it on the pack. In Australia here, we don't have much with that problem of hormones or anything like that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to sell it. But depending how quick you want to do it, I've seen a few people that different mixes. Mine like minerals. I'll get a lot of food scraps. I shred down. I put it for in Synchrate. If you've watched my channel, if you haven't, it's no big deal. Pretty much, depending what size they are, they're like a bit like teenagers. Once they get their head in the fridge, they like to snack and eat all the good stuff. They do have a bit of a sweet tooth. But some people put dry molasses, stuff like that. Dry molasses, stuff like that in there. But as I say, what I'm only learning myself, it's not gospel. Do you have worms yourself? I think James, your first name. Do you have worms, James? And if so, what type of worms you got? My camera looks like it's a bit of a lean, should be like that, but I've had to put my laptop on a box, which is on a bit of a lean. Yeah, well, I'm still learning. I don't know if you know much. Watch my channel. Anyone's watched my channel much out there? I know John has. He's on one of them. I was on the AJ's Greens, Going Greens, or AJ's. He's in America. I was on his live feed last week, and yeah, so they different places have different things. How they feed the worms. Some people gospel, some people what no. Some I seen the other day in China and Vietnam, because of the poorer countries. There may be some richer parts of the country, but all they done is make big windrows, big piles of manure, or smaller areas like behind me here. You probably can't see. I don't know if you can see over my head here. Boxes like that. They're about 3x3. I have about 10 of them. But what they do, they put so much bedding in there, horse manure, aged horse manure, etc. I will say any type of bedding, whatever you want. And what they do, they will put fresh cow dung waste, make it into a soup, and they tip it along the top or in a corner. And they reckon they have African night crawlers, so they reckon it's go to. That's what they believe in, because they can't afford to be buying chicken crumble or anything like that. And what I've studied and what I've seen so far, looks like they're doing pretty good. They have a big commercial thing going. So I don't know if I'm meant to be typing or just answering these questions. I know it sounds a bit silly, but I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure I'll just answer what you've got. Okay, so what we got? So John's saying, thinking about setting up a worm farm. So just to start. Okay, just if you want to start, John, just start small. Start something you can control. Goes on your environment, where you are, how much time you have, and what you want to achieve. The phone box, which way that phone box you see, I'll get it right in a minute. Which way? That way. The phone box behind me. You can start simple like that, and start whatever way you want. I'll be making videos shortly, showing how to make our simple ones out of little bins and stuff. You don't have to go big. You'd be comfortable, whatever you want, John, and depending what you want to achieve. Okay, James, I hope I'm saying your right name, if it's in the right hand, James, yeah. Oh, yeah, Newcastle Quill. Yep, breeders, yeah. 36. Wow. And then, mate, you sound like you got it organised better than me, James. You're not too far from John. John's he's at he's not a worm farmer, but he lives at I'm straight out of my head then, up past Newcastle, up past your way. So yeah, you got 36 bins started out, yeah, 7 months ago. They do take a long time. I get impatient. I get impatient, like I want them now, I want them sold. But for supply and demand, it's only my opinion. Well, I've proven it. Well, last year, John's from Felford near Foster. That's right, near Foster. Beautiful place up there. My brother-in-law lived up Newcastle for a fair few years with his kids, etc. So like anyway, depending whereabouts in Newcastle area you have your good and your bad. I just like the fishing part. Yeah, you shouldn't have any problems, James, with the selling the worms when they're ready at 4 or 5 months, whatever, how old you want to sell them. I have more demand from, or more people want them than I got worms. The bait ones, night crawlers, as you say. So what I done with mine is with the breeders, I just give them basic pellets and stuff. When you separate your babies, you probably know this already, James, but I'll say it anyway. When you separate them in the smaller containers, if you can put less in the volume, it's better, and then you can feed your crumble to them, etc. And why I say that, because if you put too much, if you put whatever containers, whatever you're using, and you put too many in there, and you feed some, the worms are not getting as much fat. You find some are fat and some are not. Where some of the bigger commercial people I talk to in Victoria, etc., they say it's hard for them to put on weight on their bait worms like I can do, because I've got a smaller setup where I can hand feed and put, say, 40 in a 3x3 tray and feed them, and just like a hog, just feed them up, make sure they fatten up to sell. And you want them all the similar age, because it's very hard to have all these worms different sizes. People get very fussy. The ones I sold last year. Wasn't a terrible lot, but at the end I was getting about up to $1 a worm, and I think in a month I sold about 200 of them. I wasn't even trying to sell them. I still got some here in the shed here, in the worm bins, etc. But yeah, it's molasses. They seem to like molasses, dry molasses. Just don't overfeed them. So it sounds like you've got a good setup. If you ever want to, you won't need help, James, selling your worms. But if you ever need a tip, or you're trying to move someone, let me know. I'm not all about money. I'll help everybody out. You know what I mean? I got if I could have big volume of bait worms, night crawlers, I can supply some shops, So, and I've got an Aussie Life pop. I just finished night shift. Whereabouts? We got an Australian Life, so he must be in Australia. Just finished night shift. Thank you for coming on. Coming on my feed after night shift. I do security work at the local RAF base here, and I do shift work too. I'm off for a couple of days, but I appreciate you coming on. Australian Life Pop, if I've pronounced it right. You must be tired or full of caffeine, one of them two. You're probably still defrosting after night shift, depending if you're outside or inside. That's where I earn this beanie. I had my don't get scared about taking my beanie off. I got a bit shaved last night, so I'll leave that off for a bit. And a little bit cool in my shed. Here we go. Yep, Australian Life. Yeah, freezing. Pilbara. Whereabouts is that? I've never heard of that. Sorry. We're at Pilbara. Pilbara. Is that at North Queensland? Anyone does night shift or any type of work, anyone that works these days is even better, you know. Must be a thing with worm farmers. Yeah, we must be all have to do night shifts to bloody pay for these worms we got. You know, it's good to see. It's actually good to see that, and that people going a lot on the live stream that actually in Australia, because saying that the algorithm, whatever the word is, it tells me 83% of my viewers are in America. That's why I done it. That's why I done it like at 9 o'clock today. So most of my viewers in America, it's you know, I think 7 o'clock. Don't hold me to it. And I put my beanie back on. I'm starting to get cold again. I'm soft, getting soft in my old age. Yeah. So, and I think 13% or something like that is in India and Pakistan and stuff. Very rare. I haven't got many viewers in people watch me in Australia, but for a long time I've had a lot of people ask me about worm stuff, like, you know, on the internet and stuff, and it's, you know, it's we all got to learn by each other. You know what I mean? You can see, you know, Hawkesbury worms. You're not blind. That's my details. But I've only started this for 2 years. Prior to that, I had about 11 years doing worm castings. They, after COVID, they seem to, it died off a bit. People wanted worms. Worms are going in the gardening and compost toilets and stuff like that. Hey, Hunter, what's doing, buddy? Is that Hunter the knife man? If I'm correct, unless it's the if Hunter you make knives, you got a worm farm there in America, if I'm correct. Yeah, and yeah, so everybody wanted the worms, and everyone's wants to live off the grid type of thing. And I've had a lot of people compost toilets and stuff like that, fermenting bins. I always go out of the normal. I want to have people off grid that say, "Oh, I'm camping. How can I get rid of the waste?" Stuff like that. You can go to, if you're a worm farmer, you can go, worms will eat pretty much anything. I've been putting at the moment, I've got some field mice here on a bit of a in the shed a lot. I've been catching them and put them on top of the worm farm, and once they compost down, they disappear. My younger daughter's very fascinated the way it does it. So worms will break pretty much anything down once it's done. So yes, so thank you for whoever's come on. Much appreciated. This is all brand new to me. I'm hoping to do more live streams. I've just got to work out what times are best for people. Because as I said, most of my viewers are in the States, so I've got to try to get on their time. If I do it on a different time, you know, but everyone seems to be going on live streaming that for a thing. There's no money in it. It's not like I'm sitting here clicking over dollars. I'm here just to share my knowledge, what I know, and learn by everybody else, and catch up with other worm farmers, which we've done so far. Like we got James Rohan. I hope I haven't messed his name up. He's a worm farmer, and if I'm correct, and then yes, how you been, Hunter? Right, good to see you, bro. I hope you're doing well. Long time no see. If anyone doesn't know Hunter, I was watching his channel for a while. Still got him on there. I think previously he was a worm farmer like myself. He's a good knife, as far as I know. He's a good knife maker. Makes everything from scratch. He's got a good channel. if he wants to share his name with his channel up here, it's up to himself. I'm not going to say what it is, not to, because people change different ways. But yeah, Hunter has I watched his channel for a while, and he's like me. He's tried from, started from the bottom, and so supply and demand, and gone through the things about people wasting time, and how to steal stuff. Yeah, so you're still worm farming, yeah. What's your is your channel still Hunter, is it? Or his name's Hunter, of course. Is it Hunter's Knives or Hunter's Worms Farms? Problem is, I watch about 200 bloody channels. I'm addicted to this YouTube stuff. So most of the stuff when I go on when I'm watching your one, Hunter, if you get the worms, I'm interested. With the knives, they're very good at what you're making that, but I'm not into knives, so to tell you the truth. But I'm not knocking you or the channel, anything like that, but it's each to their own. Everyone likes different things. But if you want to put your your channel name is up there, that's all right, unless it's just Hunter. And so anyone else on here that has a channel that I want anyone else to watch, just be happy to put up here. So we've got an Australia Life Pop. So I think that might be a channel. John is just John. I don't think James has got a channel that I know of. But yeah, it's as I say, everyone wants to supply and demand with the worms. So I ended up breeding. Started selling more. I started selling more than I had. So, do you have run? Yes, good question there. Good question, James. Do you run heat mats in the weather? Oh, and we've got, mine is worm videos on it too. Also change various different videos on travel. Okay, so I'll answer you both. You got Australian Life, as you can read like I can read, but I'll read it out. Australian Life, mine also has worm videos on it too. Change in different varieties. Yeah. Now heat mats. I can't really show you. Let's see if it's a little bit sheds a bit, you see. But over there, behind me with that, so you're over there, right? Or over this way. There, I bought a big heat mat, right? Okay. Now I originally had a heat mat from growing seeds and stuff. Okay. I've had that for a while. Everyone's going about temperature and stuff, and I've watched so many videos saying this temperature, they don't like it between 20 and 25, and that. Now I'm trying to increase. Most of these are here. I know, sorry about this, but most of them bins there, you see that bin there. I'll get that way. That bin there, then bins there. All these bins behind me. I've got like 20, 30 bins of eggs in it. Cocoons, sorry. Now, myself, I'm trying to hatch them quicker, so more volume. Because I've got a list of people waiting for worms and stuff like that. I know I sound like I'm sidetracked, sorry, but so what happens, I'm using the heat mats, okay, the common seed heat mats for plants, and I was worried about it because it doesn't self-control the heat. So it temperature goes up to 30 or something like that. So anyhow, I went to Amazon and I bought this big heat mat. It's 1 meter. So I thought, let's control my heat mat. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put all the things across, and that way they'll hatch different ones because they're like a month apart, so you can't really do much. So the question is, yes, I do have heat mats, but what I'm getting to, I set the setting on there to no more than 25. I think Celsius, if I'm correct, right? It could be, Celsius. In America, they have Fahrenheit. Once again, see, they muck up the school. This is what happens. Anyway, so the phone box you see behind me, you can see it is actually still, which way is it? That way. It's still sitting on it, right? And the reason that's still sitting on it, because it melted. I put it on level 1. Now, I didn't realize you've got to put a probe in, you've got to put the probe in the box. When it gets a certain temperature, it cuts it off. I didn't know that. So I come in the next morning and I'm smelling something, thinking, what's going on here? So here is the results of when you don't read stuff. That black stuff is melted box. So I melted one of my boxes. This was actually a proper box, like one behind me, and pretty much that melted right through the bottom. So I'm lucky I didn't get a fire. Yes, very silly, but we learn by our mistakes. So with heat mats, you just got to be very careful. Be very careful with them. This one puts a lot of heat out. Now, so I'll put the probe in, right? I put the probe in, and I thought, okay, it's going to cut off. But somehow it doesn't. I don't know why it doesn't cut. It doesn't cut off. It just keeps going up to 35, 40, up, all the way up, and then next minute what baby worms are there? They're all getting out saying, I can't breathe, But I do use heat mats, yes, but be very careful because they can overheat. I even put like, this is not it, but I put like a bit of wood, right? And I set the box on the wood. So it sits off the heat mat. But then there wasn't enough heat going up. It just went around the box and up. So just warmed the room up. Some people will go, I've seen, depending on what, it comes down to money and cost. Some people will make a foam or insulated little box, say 6 by 6, 6 foot by 4 foot, whatever it is, with shoals in it. And they'll put some heat source in there where it reaches a certain temperature and kicks off. Just depends how much money you want to spend, how big you want to go. As I said, I've watched Hunter's channel before and picked up a little bit off him. We all learn by each other, you know what I mean? I spoke to, and I'm not trying to, I'm no different than anyone else. I've went out into some big commercial farms and met some real big operators. Some people, one had windrows, which is just, as you probably know, a line of manure across the property. He had 1,200 rows, and he had the bait worms in there. Now that's a full-time job. That's a lot of money. Now, as I was saying before, with any type of business, what I've been taught, what I got taught by a business person that does small businesses, if you run a business, it's like walking in the water, in the beach. As soon as you go into the water, where you're comfortable up to your knees, you feel comfortable, you can move back, you can move out, you can move away from the water. Okay, it's a terminology. As you get more in your business, you get more comfortable with that water. You can go into the water in the depth more better. But a lot of people go straight into water, go up to their armpits or nipples, and they freak out because they can't handle it. It's too much. And that's when you see people borrow money, outlay a lot of things, and you got to start from the bottom, like you're doing, James, and that. Hunter knows all this already. So anyone worm farming and wants to sell some, it's a long term, a couple of years, 2 or 3 years before you start. You gotta love what you do. If you don't love it, it'll send you mad. I use it. It's good for me because I come out my worm shed here in double garage, and it gets me out of the house, away from the kids in the other half, and a bit of my zen. I can calm down a bit. And then when I go back in after an hour or two, I'm right, unless they're coming in and something else is burnt or melted. But yeah, any other questions anyone wants to know? So we've got Australian Life. Who's got this? All right, sorry, I didn't. I'm too busy talking, not reading. Thank you for coming on Australian Life. Anyone wants to check the channel out, go and have a look. Thanks for popping in, Cheryl. I know who Cheryl is now. Bloody hell, I'm half asleep. I watched Cheryl's channel too. Yeah, thanks for popping in, Cheryl, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Have a nice warm sleep. Who else we got in here? Hunter. We've got John. This is a problem. I watch too many channels. I had the, I don't know if just me. I thought by joining all these channels, cooking channels, all this stuff, I put my finger in there. People would go on, oh, who's this bloke? So they go on there and then they'll get more subscribers. It doesn't work that way. I've got at least 100, over 100 things I watch, different ones, and none of them are even subscribe or watch my channel. And then when it comes to Australian Life, it doesn't even enter in my head who it is, and then until they type the name in, I go, oh yeah, I know who that is. But yeah, how's Emmett going over in the States, Hunter? He's still with us. How's Emmett going with your worms and your knife and businesses and stuff? How's that going over there? I haven't watched the channel for a little bit. I missed a few, so and James, when you're thinking about selling, when you start selling worms, haven't got enough yet, or it sounds like you got enough here, but people buy big, you know. They'll come. I've had people come to me, and I won't name shops, but I've got a couple of shops that just open bait shops, and they want a supply when in the warmer months. They want the supply. Where I am in the Hawkesbury here, as you can see there, I'm surrounded by the Hawkesbury River, so everybody wants fishing worms. Now, my composting worms, they have to put 2 or 3 of them on there to fish with. Yeah, so it's they don't really like it. They like the bigger stuff, like you've got probably James and Hunter. But the red wrigglers in the States and stuff, I've the purebred ones. That seems to be going in America and a few overseas countries because they grow real big. I purchased some about 4,000 of them or 5,000 of them, and that's what all these eggs are behind me and that. So I haven't even bred them yet, but the breeders have turned out really, really fat, really good size. So I'm happy with them. So what I'm hoping to do is breed the red wrigglers to bigger size, and so cut costs for people. So when I haven't got enough for the bait worms, I can sell the red wrigglers on a bit cheaper. I don't know how much I'll sell them for now, but when I paid for them, I have juveniles yet grow out. My new breeders, I want around 1,000 breeders, pins before I attempt to start selling. Another 6 months. Yeah, James, don't do what I done. Don't be in a hurry. Set yourself up solid, man. That's the way James. That's the way to do it. I got excited seeing the money and going, wow, very excited, and I was selling bait worms everywhere. They were going everywhere. And next minute I look and I'm like, I hardly not got none. So I'd spent 2.5 years breeding them to that point, and I was selling them constantly. And then I didn't leave enough for me to breed for next year. So yeah, you should have. We've got 1,000 breeding bins before I attempted to start selling. Yep. So you live on? Do you live on property, James, or you got a garage, or is it what type of setup do you have? You must have a lot of room if it's for that setup, But as you say, it's 6 months. It takes about 5-6 months. Yeah, I do reds and blues as well, but haven't built. Yeah, for them next few months. I think. Yeah, if you do the castings for yourself, it's all right. I with the casting side, I had a good setup. These blue bins behind me had 10 of them going at one time. I used to sell a lot of castings. I used to sell a lot of castings, probably 80, up to 80 kilos of castings a month in end. This is when COVID was on. Everybody wanted it. Once everyone went back to work, it just died in the ass. I was spending a lot of money making good castings. What input I fed the worms. I was feeding them minerals, biochar, molasses, all types of seed meal, seaweed. I spent hundreds of dollars on these mix to feed them. The castings are very good. I was only using peat moss at the time, so it's easy to sift. And I was selling it for $5 to $7 a kilo. I was selling it to Tasmania, everywhere. People liked it. But as I said, as quick as it came, quick as it went, people decided, well, they're too busy for farming and whatever they had it for, indoor plants. And I've got out here, I've got a sheep wool. You put the sheep wool in the big bag. I've got one of them full still from 12 months ago. People want it for free. And then they want it for free, and then they want to complain the quality of it. So it no, it sounds, James, it sounds like you've got the reds and blues. I don't know if you've got to mix together. As you say, a lot of worm farmers, we say, when you mention blue, they all hiss and carry on. They're, well, no good. But composting worms for blues, they're very good. The only thing I don't like about blues is when the weather, if it's going to be rainy or stuff like that, they'll take off. I call them suicidal blues because in my bins over here, if I can show you, them bins there, they're only pull-out drawers, right? Anytime I get blues in them, I can come out of here and I can come in here after rain and they're on the floor. They're the only ones that take off of me. The reds are fine. I've got tiger worms, stuff like that. And I have 5 meter shed. Yeah, try and do everything vertical, save room. So yeah, but you got bakery equipment. Be handy. The stacking system, I gather the metals stacking system. I've seen them. I'm not a handyman, but if you get something like that, you got to have it. You got to keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. That's why I've got that. I've got the things out of the house. They're from IKEA. It's plastic pull-out shelves. They're enough for me, and that's it. Oh, here's my man now, AJ. Thanks for stopping by. Anyone doesn't know AJ's Greens Topics? He's another worm farmer. We had a live stream last week. Went for a while. Went good. And he's going to spend your few minutes. AJ is better than an hour, mate. And I know I don't say mate, but I've picked it up now. So good day, AJ. AJ was asking me last week that we all say mate all the time in Australia. So, but AJ's in America. He's got a channel, AJ Green Topics. As you can, I know you're not blind, you can see it on there. But I'll give him a shout out. I'll watch him. Same as Hunter. Everybody's got different things. AJ's channel is just basic. Just basic what people want to learn. And so that's the way it is. G'day, mate. Yeah, Bonza. Yeah, yes, it's Yeah, yeah. So saying about the blues and stuff. I was actually telling AJ last week. Or most of the people on his channel there. He has a lot of live streams of different worm farmers and stuff like that in America and Australia. That's what I'm going to start doing. But yeah, getting back to the blues. Sorry, I was sidetracked. This is why I was never very good at school, because the teacher used to say, "Watch me, not out the window." She would be, I had a worm farmer once, got on worm sites, and he said, "I've got these blues I want to get rid of." And they were down at Victoria. I won't mention names. They were gassing them somehow, gassing them, right? Anyway, I said, "What? You're gassing these worms? I'll have them." So he sent me about 40 kilos of them. I just had to pay for postage, which is, I don't know, Zach, back to a few years ago, $100, whatever it was. But the blue worms are very good composting, cardboard, everything, fantastic. Breeding, so good. I was like running out of room. But as I say, there's always that but. The first time it rained, or the change in atmosphere, it changed atmosphere. It because of the weather, they take off. If you can keep them in it, if you can keep them in a area where they can't get out, put holes on them. Like AJ's got a few, as I say, good channel, a lot of good things how to build them in that, how to keep them in, not just blues, but just in worms in general. They're fantastic. I'm telling you, you can't. I've told people you cannot keep up with these worms. They will eat any cardboard, and they breed. So what happened? This gentleman, he had European night crawlers. He was making big windrows right across the paddock and start. He didn't know the previous person bred worms, and he bred composting worms. And what happened? They had more blues than anything. So when he put the manure down and he started putting the eggs out, etc., I'm not sure exactly how he done it. All these blues that were hiding in the ground come up. So come harvest time, there was millions of blue worms, and he had more blue worms, and they were overtaking the population of the night crawlers. So that's why sometimes you'll see these mixed bins. People will put blues, European night crawlers, reds, etc. Right? The blues are dominant. They'll breed a lot more. So, but if you haven't bought himself, each to their own. Very good. So that's just a little hint I give people. I've got nothing against any type of worm. All right, John's saying I am looking for growing duckweed for my chickens, cause it high in protein and grows fast. Maybe could be for well, pretty much if you dried that. Yeah, you're right, John. If you dried that out, the duckweed, I don't know much about it. I do see people that will grow stuff like that, and they will grow what they call wheat grass that you can drink in shakes and stuff and feed it to them. The good one to comment on that would be if you're still here, Hunter. He experiments with stuff like that. Oh, he's actually got chickens and chooks on his farm and quails. He breeds a lot of quails, and the last I seen with Hunter's one, he's got a lot of quails, and he puts compost in with the quails, and they scratch around and feed. And after a few months, or I don't know the exact time, he takes it out and he feeds that bark and etc. Waste to the worms, and it comes out a very good rich casting. So it's a recycle. So he's got chickens and quails. He might know about duckweed or something like that. But high in protein, yeah. I can't see why not. You'd have to be very careful and just it's like anything. Don't go crazy. Don't go feed a heap at one time. Some people I see it's like what do they call it, seaweed and stuff. I've seen them big piles of it and put it on top of the worm farms and stuff, and it go all rancid and nasty and got bugs and shit everywhere, and it's experimental. So high protein chickens. Yeah, even AJ might know about a bit about duckweed or the chickens. I don't know much about chickens. I just know they taste nice when they come out of the oven. That's if I don't burn them. So yeah, how's the weather up your way, James? Is you got cold weather up your way? Probably similar from where John's from. We got I think it's now it's about what have we got? It's well, it was one this morning. It says 11 now, but I'm in the shed, so I'm not in the sun. But it's supposed to get up to 21. But we've been getting about 1 or 2, no minuses or something like that. Probably not as cold as AJ's area where it probably snows and the birds fall off the power lines because of that cold. But yeah, that was AJ's the one that actually got me into this live stream, or I got myself into it, starting live stream. But I cut my teeth with him last week with his, because it's all this technology stuff. It's, I've had to download this and that, and I tried to do it on my phone, didn't work on my phone, and I won't bore you with all the details. But yeah, I'm just a small worm farm in the Hawkesbury, hoping to get better, get bigger, and so yes, the weather no good here during the day. At least good idea on the duckweed. Never thought about crossing that over from chook food for worms. Well, there you go, John. You can, as you can see, I'm probably just repeating what he's got on there. I'm pretty sure you can see it there. But as he said, good idea, John, with the duckweed. Never thought about crossing that over from chook feed to worms. Save some coin. That's all. That's what you got to do, James. Any worm farmer. I've been there, and I've bought all the best feed ever. You know what I mean? You got to if you want to sell worms. As I said, I'm not an expert. As I was saying to AJ the other day, I'm only telling you what I've learnt. Right? When it comes to selling them, most of them will breed them in bigger areas, and then when they get the young ones out, like the young ones are ones you want to fatten, so you out of pocket, you'll put your high protein, whatever you want to choose to feed them, like you say, chicken crumble and that, right? You put your money towards them, because the fatter they get, the more money you're going to get back, right? The more you're going to sell. Now, what you've got to do, as everybody on here probably knows today, but I'll tell you anyway, just my knowledge, they don't all grow the same size at the same time. And then you've got people, when you're selling them, will say, especially James, if you want to sell bait worms, they want them nice and fat and hypo, like, they want them going on the hook, jumping off the hook. Now, the big ones, the real big ones, the adult ones, are on my channel now. As I say, when I say my channel, you don't have to go on there and subscribe, nothing. I'm not getting paid by anyone. I just share my knowledge. I've got some really big ones, but they're really dopey. They're on the hook, they wouldn't be much. They look good, but they wouldn't be much. But you go to 3 or 4 months when they're probably about that size, and they're young and they're fit and they're just at that age. And you know, as soon as you put your hand under them in the bin or whatever you want to do, they jump around. You put them on hook, and unless the fish is blind, they'll come. You put a big worm on, they just flap around and not do much, So, bait worms, composting worms, whatever worms you want to do for resale. If you want to resell them, and this is what I'm doing this year, is they're all a month apart, because it's 30 days apart where I get them apart, right? And then another 4 months before I can sell them the compost worms. when I put them cocoons in the hatch in there, at the moment I got an incinerator and I put all the food waste. I feed about 20 kilos plus of food waste every once a week. I used to and the strawberries, sandwich stuff, all that, right? And I put it in what I do. I put a little bit of it because I let it drain, and I put it in with the eggs in the middle, right? It'll warm up, ferment, won't kill no eggs, nothing like that. Now, what it does, I don't know how, but it encourages them quicker to hatch. And when they do hatch, they'll go straight, pretty much directly for that food source, and straight away they're eating. So you want them a bit, probably like a pig or something. You want them in the head and trough, and you want the weight put on them. Now, I just giving them at the moment kitchen scraps, stuff like that, shredded down because they eat it quicker, breaks down quicker, the biology gets into it quicker. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can just use the chicken crumble on top and encourage them that way. But you want at least around about the same. If you've got bait worms around the same age, range, size, because when people get fussy, when there's a lot around, people will go, "Oh, it's too small, it's too big," or a lot of them are buying off me per worm. They're not buying a kilo or whatever. I've had people wanting to buy 50 kilos a month and stuff. Like, I don't know if they're talking out their bum or not, but I end up putting them onto someone else with the commercial thing, let them do with them. I haven't got 50 kilos of worms myself. But yeah, if you get it right, it's fun. It's not easy work. Once you get, as James and AJ and Hunter and that know, you got to get your setup right. You got to start from scratch. Don't be in a hurry. You know what I mean? If you're doing it for a hobby like I am, and it's like a small, as I was saying to AJ last week, a business, it's only a bit more than a hobby. I want to start growing each year. With the bait worms and stuff. It's you got to start from scratch, get right from scratch, and then you can grow a little bit by little bit by little bit. But if you go too big too soon, you fall on your face. You won't know where you are. The big operation you need. I've had people address me with certain things I won't get into about composting and stuff. On a big commercial thing, one of my worms to start doing this local thing after COVID. Now, it was big money involved, and I'm like most, I see the dollar and I get excited. There was 10 people involved. It was involved with like a panel of 10, which they took local food scraps they were thinking about doing and composting it, and then using my worms to break it down even quicker. Now, that's a big setup. Now, what they didn't realise in the area where I am, it's about 250 tons or some stupid amount of food waste and greens in 1 week. So, one, you need a machine to stack it, which they didn't think about. Two, a commercial tumbler. Now, I won't bore you with it, but all these things you need to put out, right? They sat down, you're already up to 220,000, 250,000 just to start the thing before you even sell a worm, before anything like that. It's big, big money. But the thing is, unless it's in contract or written there, I could start there and do it all good. I work a full-time job. I'd have to quit that job to do this one. So that means I had an income to pay to live on. It wasn't going to work out. They were very educated people, very high up in certain spots of a community, and they couldn't put two. When I mentioned this to them, they were like, "Oh, we didn't realise that." Now, the thing is, I was talking to a few people, business owners, and they said say after 2 or 3 years you get going, you get good, your worms are going good, and you're selling them, and they're selling the castings. What if this person decides you have a disagreement, and he decides he don't want you anymore? There's no contract. They kick you off site. All your worms are there, and you got to start. You just wasted 4 years of your life helping someone else get rich. Now I know it's off the subject thing. This is what I've come across. So pretty much the moral of the story is, if you want to start like you have, James, and start where your feet are solid on the ground, and you can enlarge yourself and put your feelers in. Social media is a good one. A word of mouth. If you do good, if you do good by people, they'll come back. Most people most people will buy one time off you. Some won't, some will. With composting worms, bait worms. What I do is most of the commercial places you buy online. You don't get to talk to them. You click on the thing what you want. Okay, and they say 7 days, whatever it is, on Monday or Tuesday they send them to you. Now, what I'm doing is they can still do that on the Hawkesbury Worm site on my ones, but when I'm not sold out, but people like, say, some bloke decides on a Thursday or Friday he's got his kids for the weekend. The boys go, wouldn't it be cool to go fishing? It's a local lake. He can't wait for a week for commercial people to send them after it. And then when you get them, they're dehydrated, some of them and stuff. So if they text me or ring me up, if I'm not at work, I'll go in the shed, I'd sift some out, and I hope some ready. I've had them come at 7 o'clock in the morning to buy some. That's where my market, that's where I've done good, where people will come. But saying that, there's a lot of troublemakers. There's a lot of people who don't turn up. They'll turn up, and you say, it's because there's nowhere else selling the worms at the moment. It was on the commercial side. They're all sold right out. Well, I was the only one around here selling them. So I'd tell them, yeah, come pop in and get some. And they'd say, how much? And I'd say, it's a handful, $50. And they're getting trust me, they're getting more than they're worth, right? So I'm actually losing because I'm trying to help them out. So they turn up, they'd hand you $25, and I'd say, well, it's $50, or $40, and this is what you got to. Not everyone's the same. This is what you got to do. This is what you got to put up with if you go out, have people come to your door off marketplace, etc. If you have a website, they can just push the button what they want. You send them. You don't have to meet them. Send them an email back. No waiting around for people. That's what I've done now. Now it's with what I find with the bait worm ones too. What I've learned is I've had people from a lot of local freshwater fishing places have seen me and got on to me and gone, yeah, we want this, we'll buy whatever you got and stuff. So I'm like, oh, this is just good, So it's the same things turn up. So I went out of my way sometimes. I'd duck home from local work here and sift them, or be up all hours of the night sifting stuff for them. I'd give them extra. And they'd be, for $20, they'd be getting $50 worth of worms. So I thought, what I'll do to get the word, I'll get the word out. People go, oh, Hawkesbury worms. I've got some good worms off, and they're all good and all that. They had a local tournament here. I was pretty much giving worms away just to people and helping people and all that, right? I asked them for a simple thing, take a photo of it or whatever. Let me know. Out of 14 people, not one of them got back to me. Not one person. And they, you know what? The only person I've got is to blame is myself, because one, I missed out money, and I thought I was doing a good thing. Not everyone's like that, but this is what, if like James and stuff, and anyone else on here wants to that wants to watch if that wants to sell any type of worms, this is what you got to come across. Sometimes you can be kind and help people out, and once they go on, they don't care. They're just another number. So now, unless I've sold not so much bait worms but composting worms off that person, or they mainly go on through my website now, I have no problem. I don't have the stress and the heartache and stuff. But so I hope I haven't bored most of these people out there with this. Hope any of it's making sense and it's all clear and stuff. Keeping it real. This is the way it is. I'm not no filters. No, I'm in my shed. As you can see, in my shed, freeze my bum off, and just getting used to this live stream. I want to, in the future, get a few other people on live stream, AJ and a few others, and someone in Australia that will get on and let them knowledge about what they do with the worm farming, etc. A lot of the big commercial people don't want to spend that. I don't blame them. They're too busy. They're too busy with their worm stuff, and they don't want to share the knowledge and stuff because it took too long for some YouTuber to take their knowledge, whatever, and do it. They'll give you a little bit, but they don't want to go on lives. Or I've tried to go to their places and film for my channel and stuff, but they don't want it. At the beginning, I couldn't understand. I thought they were a bit up themselves, but now I understand getting into myself. You want a bit of privacy. You want to not tell everyone 100% what you do. You got to keep something a bit of a secret to yourself. And thanks, AJ. Yep, I'll be in touch with AJ. We'll try to get a maybe a live stream going now. I know how to do it, and we'll keep in touch. But anyone out there that wants to on AJ Green Topics want to go on there, even I don't know if you have even James and that stuff like that, go over there. He's just basic like me, straight up. And if you're lucky, you'll see his cat Ruby. It's actually a professional worm farming cat, and I won't tell you too much about it. But when you go to his channel, you'll see what I mean. She's a real crack up. And I was talking about worms to AJ last week. I don't know if you're still there, James, or not, but the Canadian night crawlers in America or Canada, they're like massive. They're like that, and they're like figures your thumb. And I was saying how big they were compared to what the bait ones we have here. I see a lot of people here they either like or don't like African night crawlers. They're another good breed to have if you keep them warm. They breed very well. Good. They reckon they're very good for fishing and stuff. But once again, I've had bad luck with them. As soon as I get the weather gets a bit cold here, as soon as it gets a bit cold, they'll bail out if it's not containers and stuff like that. But so if there's anyone else out there who hasn't commented and just watching on, just say hi, whatever on there. Comment. It's only free. I don't expect many people on here because it's my first one and it's probably an odd time. But it's good to see that James and John and AJ and that have commented up on here. I don't know if I've meant to be pushing. See what this does. I don't know if it's what that does, but I think if you're meant to be, you can type in whatever you want to do, but you can hear what I'm saying anyway. So, but yeah, so we've got. It just depends what you want to do. I've learned off older people myself. Older generation worm farmers are no longer around, and you got to have your own own niche, your own worm. Worms are all the same as how you raise them, how you fatten them up, what you look after them. If you don't lose some worms, or you're feeding too much, or whatever happens, you're not learning if you don't lose worms, because that's, from feeding too much. This is how we learn. As I was saying before, James, if you're still there with the chicken crumble, you sprinkle it on the top, not a problem. Some people water it down on top. There's a gentleman I watch in the UK. He has his in foam boxes like my foam boxes, but they're on the angle, and they're sloped on the angle like that. He just pulls that shelf out. Hunter is just saying, he likes to water it down. Make a difference, Hunter. Water the chicken crumble down, or is that what we're talking about? The chicken crumble? I haven't used much of it. I normally use the wild bird mix, but And what he does, it's similar with Hunter as a saying. But if you put, he just pulls these foam boxes out, and they've got like another foam box. They're only very small, and he just gets his chicken crumble and he just throws it a handful and waters it down, but it stays on top. And he's got, say, 400 or 500 boxes of it in these rows in this big shed. It's an old video I've watched, and it seems to work. And then I've had other people say, "Oh no, don't do that because you get protein poisoning and all this stuff." But I always water it down a bit. I don't mean I sit there with a hose and hose it right through, but if it's moist, they'll eat it quicker. They'll break it down quicker, as you know, as Hunter was saying. But how's your worms going, Hunter? You still got your worms? You must have. You still feeding them? You still selling some, or just for yourself? And then it's chicken. People have chicken crumble, and there's all types of things you can feed them. I was getting barley from a brewery used for the beer, and I didn't know. It smelled good. I started throwing that. So exactly so many worms, running super sacks in bins, selling a bunch through. Good to hear, Hunter. Good to hear, mate. That's all the hard work you've put in there. You know what I mean? I've only, as I say to people out there, I only know Hunter from on YouTube. I've never personally met him. I know zero about him. And that's no offense to Hunter, but I have watched him grow with his worms and from the scratch. I've learnt stuff off him. And this is how we do it. This is how we learn. And he's tried different methods of different people. And he's got the big super sacks. If you go across to his channel, you'll see see how it goes. And in between, he also working, and he also has work, so it's not his full-time job. And he makes knives, different types of knives from scratch. They're very, very, very good. My worms are going good, Hunter. Mainly now it's cooled off a bit. Not as cold as where you are, but it's cooled off, so they're not eating as much. So the food scraps I'm breaking down and putting in the incinerator, etc. I've gone back to putting peat moss in the peat moss for bedding, not bark and stuff. The reason I've done that is the food scraps I'm putting in there, right? The moisture comes out as you can wring it out, do what you want. It's still going to come out. So one part of the food scraps I've incinerated down. You don't know how much food's in there. You can't tell them. There could be 50 items in that thing. I'm only putting a bit of that with it now, and they seem to like it more. But what I'm doing, I'm getting the peat moss, and I'm wrapping the peat moss in the scraps, so it's like a rissole, and I put it on top, and they're coming up and they're eating it. Now, any moisture will get soaked up by the peat moss. The peat moss I've got it wrung out to a few drops, whatever you want to call it. It's not wet. Previously, I've been using bark, paper, all that, right? I know I say buying stuff, it's cost you more, but when it comes to sifting for the eggs, it takes me half a day to do it because I've got wet bark, wet paper, they've broken down, and it's just like a mud bath because I'm putting the stuff in there wet, they're putting stuff in there wet to start with. And then I'm adding food scraps in one of the corners or on top, not a lot. And that the moisture from that's going into the bark and that and sitting on the bottom because I don't have holes on the these big blue ones behind me here. They're empty at the moment. So the only ones I've got is these pull-out trays here behind me, and they've got all the eggs in them at the moment. So you keep yours wet, and the bedding makes it different. Yeah, it's as I said when I've done composting before, some of the castings before I had very dry, under more of a dry side, and the worms weren't breeding as big. Now I'm trying to sell more worms. I'm not worried about the castings. I had made it more wet. Problem is, I'd have the sifters. I'd have like that. You see the sifter behind me, like the hand sifter, like that, right? The 1/8, etc. I'd have them. As soon as you put, it's common sense. Before I even tell you, you put that muddy stuff in that. I don't care what sifter. I don't care if it's super sifter. I don't care if it's 11,500 or 50,000. You will not sift that mud out through that thing. So then I've got to put on the bench, which I've just got a little bench over there. And then I've got to use the light system and then get them out bit by bit. Now I'm not as big as most people, but now I'm getting a lot more. I've got probably, I'd say probably about 40,000 breeders. Okay. And each drawer got about 1,000 in each drawer, etc., or more. Trying to get them out, sifting. I'm there I could start at 9 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, I'm still in here. You know what I mean? It gets annoying. You're not enjoying it anymore. You're like, this is a full-time job. So this is why I've gone back to peat moss, the Canadian peat moss, because I can bring it out. They'll go through it. They'll go through it. I'll grab one of these bins here and see. I'll just show you quickly. Hang on a sec. I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah. So it's simple drawers, right? But as you can see, high tech over here. You see in the oven, see? They're just coming to the top and eating all that scraps and that peat moss, breaking it down really good, And they just love it. They're healthy as anything. They're a little bit cool. So we've put them out. Bloody if you're on Mrs. Computer, that's going to get it going. But once they break that peat moss down, I can sift this, and it's still enough moisture. They've broke that food down. They've broken that food down really good, and broke the peat moss down too. So no smell, a little bit of smell on with what haven't broken down, but that's what I'm trying to do now to make it easier for me. Yes, I am buying stuff, but making it easier for me. So when I get the sifter and sift it, hand sift, I'm not there for 4 or 5 hours doing so. It's okay if you just got a backyard. Just for scraps and stuff for the kids, there's no worries. But I don't want to sound like I'm putting tickets on myself. As I said, I tell people what I've learned. So you can go ahead and say, David Darren's done that. I won't be doing that. And this is how we'll learn. Hopefully, when that's ready at the end of the month, I leave it 22 days, 30 days sometimes. That'll break down. I can put it in the sifter, sift it. The eggs will go through the bottom. I can collect the eggs, put them in more peat moss, put the worms back into them drawers again. So what I've done, reds and Yeah. You got mainly reds. Have you got mainly reds and night crawlers, Hunter? Have you? What do you? I think you got a lot of composting worms last time I seen it. Or you got bait worms to store. So what I've done, which I've said before, last year had all the worms in these big tubs right around, right? I've got like they're right around. I've got about 10 of them, right? I just put all the worms in, let them breed for 7-8 months, and I'm like, okay, I better sell some. People started wanting them. I'll take them out, sift them, hand sift it, and they're not as wet as the other ones. I had the big trommel outside, which I can't really show you now. The big trommel anyway. It's got no motor on it. I've got to push it with my hand and have an asthma attack doing it. Anyway, I started selling, and I started like every day. There was people want 4 or 5 kilos. They want this, they wanted. It was kicked off real good on my website. But what I wasn't watching, which I was saying to AJ last week, and that is, I was selling it, but I wasn't keeping how many I was selling. And I got to the last bin, or second last bin. I thought, I better see. I want to keep twice as many breeders as I had last year because the demand is higher. So I want to go higher with the demand, for selling the worms. Lucky I looked, because I had less breeders in my bins than I started with, because I got focused on selling things and I forgot to keep an eye on what I was selling. So now fast forward to this year, what I've done now, I've emptied all of them apart from 2 and put them in the smaller drawers. So they're on the breeders there. So the breeders there, they're all around the place. They're hidden everywhere, stuff like that in these drawers. And that drawers over there, they're all babies now. And what I'm going to do is, once they hatch out, I'm going to put them in these blue drawers, these big blue ones behind me here, and let them grow for there. So anyway, whatever's in that 3x3 or 4x4 in there, and if I sell the whole lot, it doesn't matter. It won't affect my breeders. So if next year you go really good breeding and selling a lot, but I'll still have my breeders here. It won't affect them. So that's one thing I've learned also selling worms. You have to have them. You don't have to, but for me, separate the breeders from the young ones. And once your breeders are here, they stay here. And once these ones go, the breeders are still there. You're not affecting. I only had like half of what I got now last year. Now I've tripled the amount. So next year I'll have more, and hopefully it grows like that, bigger and bigger. It's mainly, and we'd be baked worms. I've got them outside, and I've got so-called windrows made of bricks or blessed procs. I can't pronounce it. I've put one side. I've put metal down the middle. On one side, I've put the breeders, and on one side, I've put the young ones already been hatched. So these ones I'll sell when people want in a few months, and I won't touch the breeders. Because also, it's very hard to have one big area, one big 12 by 12 foot manure pile, and people want worms, and you're getting in there every day trying to sift them, and you're getting the big ones out, and you don't know if that's your breeder or you lose track of stuff, and you end up chasing a towel, etc. But so that's little things I've learned. I was saying before, I don't know if you're still there, Hunter. I was saying before with the heat mats. James was asking before about do I use heat mats and stuff. I got ones. I'll probably repeating myself. I got ones there that with the heat mats. It's supposed to be you can put what temperature you want on you. It didn't really work. Overnight, I come in the next day to check it, and that was the results. That's the bottom of a foam box. What was left, it melted the box. People are going to say, no, there's no way you can do that. That's the outside of the box. Didn't melt the box right down. This was a whole box. But what happened? It stuck to the heat mat, and I could smell it. So I've just gone back to the original small heat mat, and what I'll do now, I'll put two things, the two drawers. I'll put one on each, so it's half and half. So if it gets too hot, they can go to one side. But saying that, you've got to try it yourself, see how you go, what heat mats you get. That one behind me there, it's you see there with that fish picture is on the bottom there. That was that's about 1 meter long. I got it on Amazon, $60, whatever. It's supposed to do a lot of plants. And it says you put the probe in it, and once the probe gets a certain temperature, it cuts it off. It won't go in it. But I put the probe in it, thinking, oh yeah, it's going to be fine. It'll cut off. And on the lower setting, and it didn't. And that was the result. When I picked the box up, that was the bottom of the box. So your mine temp controlled, or your if you don't mind me asking, Hunter, how do you keep yours? You mean controlled as like a heating system in your shed, or mats, or how do you keep yours, if you don't mind me asking? How do you keep yours temperature controlled? I'd say it'd be with heaters or something else like that. That's the problem here. I've insulated all here, or a friend of mine, my father-in-law, helped me, etc. And you can see it's all insulated right around. Right. That's right around. Yeah, I get a bit of cold come through the window, but the heat in the window. The only downfall I can see, I've got the roller door there, and the cold comes through that roller door there, right? And it makes it not as cold in here if it is out there, but it's still not doing it. Air conditioning, heater in my shop. Oh yeah. I might have to. Well, we don't get that hot here. We do outside, but there's a big ass tree right above my shed, luckily, so that keeps the shade down. But I'd say if the climate control, with it's a bit warmer in here, I'd probably do a little bit better. But at the moment, I'm just trying to get the morning sun through the window, and it doesn't heat it up, but they seem to like it a bit. But as I'm saying, we learn off each other, and it comes down to cost. As I say, Hunter, I watch your videos and stuff, and your worms are actually in your work shed, aren't they? So that's your working area also. So you want to keep warm or cold or whatever whilst you're working too. So you're killing two birds with one stone type of thing. So so you made the worms would love that. When I give food waste to ground down food waste to mine, and they seem to love it, they'll get to that area because it's fermenting and they like that warmth, and it keeps them together, so they'll mate and do all the good stuff. But overall, for the eggs, if this was heated or like a small heat, the production would be a lot better because they're not cold. You stick your finger in most of the soil here, and it's very, very cold to touch, which I don't know if it affects them or not, but I'd have that's why I got the heat mats. So I thought, okay, well, I've put them on heat mats, I might be all right. It might be right to it'll put a bit of heat in them to warm the eggs up, making hatch properly, whatever. But you put them on, I think if you put them on too hot, you end up with freaking boiled eggs. So it's a catch-22. But as I say, the gentleman in the UK, I can't remember the name of the channel. I'll tell you, it's an old channel. He sells bait worms, and he's got one little shed. You walk into a shed, and it's got soundproofing, what do you want to call it, and he's got a controlled heater like for chickens in there, and it comes off, goes on for so many hours, and comes off for so many hours. I don't know if it's 75 or 80. I'm not too sure what he said what it sets to, and because they have snow and stuff over there. And he said without that, he because he sells the shops and bait shops, he wouldn't have the same amount, because he has to have so many kilos of worms per month or year to supply these local shops. And that's another whole subject to give her. will bring up another time. So yes. So anyone else on here apart from Hunter and AJ and John, just talk up, cost you nothing. You can comment, say hello, goodbye, whatever you want. You're bored, just let me know you're out there. But yes, so it's I'll probably get off this live feed shortly because it's I don't know how long you're meant to be this. It's an hour and 25. I might cut it off 1 hour 30. Just to get my name out there, get to meet people, see what times. The hardest thing for me is because I was saying Hunter before, most of my viewers in America, so different time thing in that, you know. But it's some depending on what channel, what you're selling, whatever you're doing with live streaming. I see people have thousands of views. It's depending what subject it is. I've watched other ones and they might have 30 people if that look at it, but I enjoy what I'm doing. So cost nothing, bit of a laugh, talk about worm stuff, talk about what pick my brain a bit, what I know, what other people on here know. As I was saying today, I've learned already that there's a few worm farmers here in Australia I've never heard of before. And yeah, it costs nothing to get on and say hello or who they are. They might have a channel you can follow. If not, doesn't matter. Everyone shares knowledge, like John with the duckweed and James, what he does with his worms. And yeah, we can all learn together. And as I grow, well, my business name is Hawkesbury Worms, as you can see. I know you can read hawkesburyworms.com. Okay, there. That's my site. I sell the worms on, but as you're aware, it's DNA Worm Castings, my channel. I was going to change it over to Hawkesbury Worms, but it's too hard to muck around. I've got a few viewers now, not a lot, but so I thought having the sitting in here in my little shed with me logo above me might help. It's warming up a little bit now. Saves being in the house with just a black background where no one sees nothing. I can at least show you around a little bit around the place. I did have it on my phone, but it wasn't good. But I hope it's all turned out well for whoever's still on there. And thanks for everyone stopping by, Hunter. Thanks, mate, for stopping by. Much appreciated. Keep up the videos, stuff like that with your worm stuff. As I say, I love watching you make your knives and stuff. I'm in the worms, so if I see worms, I get on there. But with the live chat, sometimes it's different time. Like if I'm coming off night shift, I'll catch it, but sometimes I don't. That's the only thing with live stream. So, and if you wanted to stop in the AJ's Green's topics, you can stop by there, help each other out. Costs nothing to watch someone else's. And Hunter's got a YouTube channel. As I said, it's good. So I'm not too sure. I don't think James has got one. I think he's just on there, but you could probably maybe look it up. But yeah. So anyone else wants to quickly ask me before I go? Otherwise, I'll put you out of your misery and hope I haven't bored you. And thank you for stopping by. And as I said, I want to do a live stream with some other people, like Split Screen and and get more knowledge off them and people get to know them. It's nothing to do with money. It's nothing to do with the goat. It's just something and people like each other and the same subject. All right. I'll give it a couple more seconds. Anyone else wants to go on here and say something before I go off stream? And yes. All right. Well, I'll go because It's I think everyone's doing their own things now, which I don't blame you. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to go on my channel, subscribe, share, and like, and comment if you want. Cost you nothing. Thank you for everybody who's got on here today. John, Hunter, James. If you watch my videos, leave a comment, whatever. Pick my brain. We work each other. If you need a hand with something, let me know. I'm not an expert. We'll learn each other. Thanks, AJ Green's Topics, for coming on. And I'll see you on the flip side on my next channel, on my DNA worm casting channel. Thanks for stopping by, and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you. And I'm out.